Tallboys and Trackmasters is brought to you by Expert Exhaust. Expect more for your money. KDR Suspension. Unlock your full potential with KDR. High Gear Success. From helping riders get sponsored to motorsports event operation and promotion, shift your passion into high gear. Track 93. The place to get ready to race. And by IADV. From routes, guided tours, and more, we'll help you get lost.
Yeah, for some reason, when I see a log, my sphincter tightens, I start to tremble, I go all sweaty.
I'm a big fan of the 1.5 pork chop cans, personally.
You gotta make sure you get your protein and carbohydrates all in one shot.
Yep.
Nice looking bike.
That thing would look good with a hot fender too.
Yes, it
It's
would. Yeah.
got the line.
Yes, it does.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome into episode 94 of Tallboys
And Trackmasters. What you got there, James?
Coors Banquet, baby.
Oh, nice. I got some Coors Lights and my 10 millimeter koozie.
Don't lose that.
I haven't yet. I'll tell you something. I've never lost a 10 millimeter anything ever.
Really?
Nope.
I'm so bad about losing stuff. I remember, I think it was my mom bought a Harbor Freight, the actual like 10 millimeter pack where it has every type of 10 millimeter they ever made.
Yeah.
I lost that entire pack. So that's how bad I am.
Even when Shiloh up dumped my socket set on my tailgate and it all rolled in the gravel one time, all the 10 still made it.
That's impressive. Well, ladies and gentlemen, happy Veterans Day. First off, I want to give a shout out to our vets out there. Appreciate your sacrifice and service to us to allow us to do our riding and all the fun stuff that we like to do as well. Would also like to go ahead and give a quick shout out to my mom, who is in the hospital right now and is recovering from her leg amputation surgery. Everything went kind of according to plan, and she is in the room recovering now. So, Mom, thoughts and prayers out to you, and I'll be up to see you tomorrow. All right, Trevor, what's going on, my friend? How's your life been?
It snowed.
Are you liking that Preston County snow now, huh?
Yeah, well, I grew up in Elkins, so this is, normal.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it finally happened. So unless there's like some big, unless we get a nice day or something like that in the near future, probably about done for the year unless I get some tire studs.
Yeah, it's unfortunately getting to that time of year, the seasonal depression that we like to call. And, it's also unfortunate that we also have the time change affecting us really badly too.
Oh yeah. Getting dark at 5 o'clock is not great. You can almost watch the sunset while you're eating your lunch.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
It is pretty unfortunate. But yeah, it's getting towards time to winterize some bikes and add some fuel stabilizer, go through, do all that, and wait for better days.
Unfortunately, it's that time of the year. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you tuning in tonight. We got a heck of an interview lined up for you this evening. It's my buddy, Mr. Aaron Orr. And Aaron, I met kind of online in some different Facebook groups because I like to take an Africa Twin in places where it shouldn't be. And so does he. So without further ado, let's welcome him in. What's going on, man?
Oh, going good, man. Thanks for having me. I'm a big fan of the show.
Oh, man. We like to hear that.
Yes, sir.
How's things in your world?
Going good. Of course, dual sport season's kind of going to an end. Most of the guys are kind of putting their bikes up and deciding they're done. But actually, racing season's kind of kicking up. We got a Cub Mountain Racing Series that's going on right now that I'm running the Africa Twin in, and then a little bit of Warren Series as well that I'm probably going to tie in with that as well. So I'm full up all the way until May, and then of course everything else is going to start up again then. So
That's awesome, man. Glad to hear it. You're a year-round junkie, huh?
yeah. Kind of starting that this year. Last year I don't like the cold, so I took a good break. But I've decided with as many events and races that I want to do next year, I can't risk losing the skill over the winter. So
I get that.
Get you some tire studs.
Yeah, it'd be necessary. That heavy bike likes to lose traction. So
I imagine. Yeah, I've never been big on riding in the cold either. Sometimes you get like the dead of winter and you haven't ridden for a while and you get accustomed to how cold it is. You get a day it's like 40 degrees and it feels like it's 70.
Yep.
Get the bike out and go mess around on a day like that. But yeah, guys that continue to ride as it dips down into the below 40 and into the 30s are mental.
Yeah, we actually just this past weekend, of course, we got that cold front that came in, so it chilled on down, and we were out camping to ride out down the Dirt Devil is kind of a local dual sport place we've got down kind of southwest of Nashville. So we were out there. It was like 30, 40 degrees that morning. We got up from camp, and I was like, yeah, I'm starting to feel it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's takes a special breed to brave the cold and the elements to get out there. But if you're dedicated enough, we are, you'll find them out there.
Luckily, this weekend, got another race coming up this weekend. It looks like the temperature is going to kind of come back up a little bit to like the 50s and 60s. So that should be nice.
Yeah, that'll be good. All right, my friend, we're going to start around here with the basics and get into your background just a little bit. So where were you born and raised?
So I was born in Clarksville, Tennessee, because that's like the closest hospital, but raised in Elkton, Kentucky. It's just a little tiny blink and you miss it town on the border of Tennessee and Kentucky. The way I explain it to everybody, we've got one stoplight in our entire county. So it's
yeah, that's small.
Nice.
Yeah, it's tiny. Which of course, growing up, always lived kind of outside of town, rural. So, me and my buddies, we were always out doing something outside. Really, four-wheelers was our thing growing up. So everybody always had a utility four-wheeler or a little racing quad, and we just go out and cause mischief. We didn't have many trails, so it was cutting off the road wherever we saw something that looked interesting, and then just kind of getting after it.
Harold, call the police. The kids are having fun again.
Yes. Yeah.
Always crack up when I see that meme all the time there.
It's very accurate.
Yeah. So started out on a four-wheeler. That's different and a little bit interesting.
Yeah.
Were you ever exposed to motorcycles at a young age like that, or was it just all four-wheelers?
Yeah, no, I would say the first motorcycle I got was right out of college or in college. I messed around on a little Rebel 250 for like a month or two, and then my buddy's dad was selling a Honda Shadow 1100, and so I had that for a little bit. But yeah, before the Africa Twin, I had probably a combined 5 months of experience on motorcycles.
Nice.
Yeah,
so that's very interesting. I'm happy to hear that. That's different. A lot of times you hear people that are dedicated to ride something as crazy and as big off road as what you and I do. It's typically somebody like me that's had a decades long experience of riding something. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So you said you went to college. What college did you go to?
Went up Eastern Kentucky University, just about 45 minutes northwest of where we were not too long ago out there, Red River Gorge area.
Okay.
What'd you study?
I was in college for criminal justice, and then I was going to be a police officer, but of course, academics were never my strong suit, so I didn't end up pursuing that.
Thanks, WVU.
Yeah, it was a little bit too much of this, and not quite enough in the books. So
I get that.
I managed to strike a balance, but yeah, I feel it's not for everybody.
No, definitely not.
I don't miss academia.
Mm-mm.
So, Aaron, obviously, the big question of the night is why an Africa Twin?
You know, I ask myself that a lot. Most of the time, it's
Especially when you're trying to pick it up.
yeah. When I'm laid down a hill, handlebars down, and I'm sitting there about ready to throw up, I go, "Why do you do this to yourself?" So really, I had that Honda Shadow, and of course, that thing is a 1988. I paid like 650, $700 for it. So I mean, it was a crock of crap, honestly. And so all the time it was springing leaks and stuff like that. And one day I was tired of it, and I called the local dealership up there to get an oil seal, and I ended up talking to one of the salespeople. And I'd always, kind of looked at all kinds of different bikes on, Instagram and YouTube. And I'd kind of come across the adventure bikes and thought they were pretty neat looking, which, of course, me never having any off-road experience, I had no, thought on how that wouldn't be that great of a bike for a beginner, or no experience at all, really. And I just kind of made a spur of the moment decision talking to that salesperson. He goes, "Yeah, we got one of these Africa Twins here." And I Googled it, and I was like, that thing's badass. And I went and bought the thing, thinking I was going to more commute it, back and forth to work, and then maybe do a little bit of gravel road riding here and there. Because, I mean, that was my first dirt bike, so I had no clue really what to do with it. And so I ended up having it and kind of, had it as a little commuter bike for a while. And then I got in, Facebook, and got in some of those Facebook groups, and started riding with dudes off road. And then the rest is history. I'm just kind of too stubborn to get anything else or try anything else. I love that bike. And partly everybody tells me to get a different bike, and I'm one of those people, like, you tell me what to do and I'm going to do the exact opposite of it. So here we are.
I get that. Isn't it funny how when it comes to the Africa Twin, at least from what I can see in my perspective owning one, it's either the guy buys it and rides it for a little while, and it's just a strict commuter bike, and he may take it off into gravel, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then you see it come up for sale with, 10, 20,000 miles on it. And it's
most time less than that.
Yeah. Or it's the other way around. It's people like me and you that like to beat on them, and we tend to keep them.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say, I mean, they're definitely better bikes for the application, of course, but just something about it, man. I love it. It's got character.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good segue into my next little thing I want to talk to you about as well. That heavyweight mindset. You see guys out social media, especially, you see Poltros on the T7, Tony Bow on the Africa Twin. That's what drew me into the Africa Twin, was seeing those Instagram reels of him drifting and being insane on it. Obviously Chris Birch with his Say No to Slow series on the big heavy bikes. What do you think that kind of demographic would draw somebody into, like, wanting to do what we do, which is take a big heavy adventure bike off road? Man,
it's kind of that, like, I see it this way, especially now, finally having a little bit of a smaller bike. I've got a Beta 390 now that I mess with, but it's that path of most resistance. The path of least resistance isn't fun. You can go there on a small bike. You can do that. It's kind of constantly testing yourself and seeing, if you've got what it takes, kind of thing. And I saw the Tony Boa stuff as well. And of course, I don't think that's ever going to be achievable for me, but it's definitely, it's awesome to watch, and, kind of like to get as close as I can.
I forget who said it, but this was taking a quote from a guy that was playing in the NBA, and he was like a low tier guy. And the guy was making fun of him for not being very good at basketball. And he was like, well, I'm closer to LeBron than you'll ever be to him. Yeah. And I've always kind of carried that with me. Like, all right, well, we may not be Poltros, we may not be Tony Bow, but we're closer to those guys than the average Joe is going to be.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. We're doing something that most only dream of doing with adventure bikes.
I like how you kind of keep talking back to that point of, it's almost like a prove people wrong mentality for doing what you do. And it really does seem like you get kind of a sense of accomplishment from that. Is that true?
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, that's the thing. You go to any race, enduro race or event and whatnot. And mean, there's a Blue Million KTM 300s or 250s and whatnot, but typically there's only one Africa Twin. That's always me. And so no matter how bad I do, I can come out last overall out of everybody there, but I was there.
Yeah. We interviewed a gentleman. It's been a while ago now, but he's down in Florida. His YouTube channel is Fast Guys, Slow Bikes, and we've all, I think me and Trevor both can kind of speak to that. That we always appreciate somebody that's taken something where it was not designed to do and showing that it doesn't really matter what kind of bike you have. The best bike available is the one that's in your garage.
Absolutely, and that's kind of how this kind of all began. That's what I had. And, that's, when I met up with most of these guys on the Facebook groups and, we go out and ride that, there'd always be someone that's like, oh, you should get a 450 or you should get this or you should get that. And I'm like, well, I've got this, so I'm going to do it on this. So
that's awesome. Aaron, what would you say are the most important skills that it takes to succeeding on a big, heavy adventure bike when it comes to doing some off-road stuff?
Yeah, that's going to be stamina. Overall, being able to pick that thing up over and over and over again, because that's what takes most people out. I mean, I could talk about balance and this and that, but I don't really have a lot of that. I mean, I don't consider myself to be much more than a novice rider, but it's stamina and persistence. Just continuing to get back on the bike, and just continuing to want to get after it,
That's good. That's good. Do you find that whenever you hop back onto the Beta 390, that you can kind of take some of the skills from being on the big heavy bike and then vice versa, some of the stuff that you can do on the 390, take it back to the Africa Twin?
Absolutely. And it's kind of why I've enjoyed having it. That's why I like having a smaller 4-stroke bike. Everybody's like, get a 2-stroke, get a 2-stroke. But I feel like maybe those, skills wouldn't transfer over. But I learned a lot of stuff over the last year of having that 390 that have kind of transferred over onto the Africa, like clutch ups and stuff like that. That's how new I am. I'm just now learning clutch up wheelies. So, but I learned a lot of stuff on that 390, and then going to the Africa, of course, if you spend a whole weekend riding the Beta and then you get back on the Africa, you're like, God, you're straddling the refrigerator. But it with the right tires, I found that's the thing. I feel like a lot of guys go, oh, nothing transfers to an adventure bike, but they're going from like, a 302 stroke with gummy enduro tires back to their, adventure bike, Tusk 2 tracks on it.
Right.
Now, it's not the same, but if you can get that thing connected to the ground, it'll act a lot more like a dirt bike than you expect.
I'd wholeheartedly agree with that. Let's talk about the bike itself, man. What mods have you done to that thing to be able to have the success you've had on it?
Yeah, so I would say for anybody that doesn't know, it's I've got a 2022 Africa Twin base standard, so it's not the adventure sport model. It's the lighter, more off-road bias version, and it's a standard transmission, not a DCT. I get people all the time. They'll come up to me and they're like, "That's that automatic transmission," because that's all they've ever seen. Yeah. But it is a 6-speed manual. First thing, obviously, tires. I'm much more a performance over longevity person.
Same.
Yeah, like I don't care for tires that last 3, 4, 5,000 miles. Most of the time, those things suck off road.
Yeah, yes, they do.
Yeah, and I know
my favorite rear tire. I'm lucky to get like 500 miles out of one.
Exactly. Yeah, that's me now. The IRC V33 is my go-to rear, and you smoke that thing after 500 miles. And granted, there are some guys out there. I don't know if y'all know Tom Asher.
Yeah, I know Tom. Yeah.
Yeah. So he was out at River Scramble, did the Dirty 130 on a bone stock F900 GS on Motaz GPS tires.
Ooh.
Yeah. That's what I said.
Why?
Because he can. Yeah, and I mean, their skill obviously will allow for anything. Me lacking that, I try to get any advantage that I can. So for everything from dual sport riding to enduro racing, I'm running, medium to gummy compound tires. And now I've got those on a skinny Woody's wheel set. So I went from the factory 4.5-inch rear to a 3-inch rear. And then from the I think it's like 2.5-inch front to a 185.
Mm-hmm.
So that really rounds that enduro tire out a little bit better. I run a Moose up front. A lot of guys are like, "We're running a Moose on an adventure tire." Ready to Ride Reynolds out west, he does a lot of stuff on Tenerays. He's seen a lot of great success with them, even doing pavement. And I experienced that at the Red River Scramble. It is definitely still doable. It feels like a wet mop up front, but it works.
Yeah.
So tires, wheels, tractive. I've got tractive suspension in that, so that's going to be their HPA extreme rear shock, and that's a plus 20 millimeter, so it's a little bit extended travel. And then I've got their drop-in cartridges up front. Those are also plus 20 mil travel on that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and then really, I'm trying to think if there's anything else really.
You did a screen delete, right?
Oh yeah, well, yeah, it deleted itself a couple of times. You just crash real hard, and the windshield. You're talking about the TFT.
Yeah.
No, it deleted itself.
Yeah.
I was out at the Turkey Bay, our local OHV park, and some of those trails are really troughed out. And I went down sideways in it, and it just hung the edge of that trail so perfectly and ripped it right out. And I was like, oh, man, I thought I was going to be bricked. I figured, with it being like a CAN bus system, I didn't know if that was going to be integral to the electronics. And I unplugged it and everything and started the bike up. And I was like, oh, okay, we're still good in business. So I ain't put her back in yet. I just run it without it. It seems to do fine.
Performance lightweighting.
Yep. And then along that same line, I've yanked the ABS fuses to basically brick all of that. So kind of stripped it of all the stuff that everybody buys in Africa Twin or Adventure Bike for, So.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get to. I got to throw a leg over it. You're not shy about letting some stranger you met offline take her a spin.
Who's going to hurt it worse than I have?
That's true. And I loved it. Mine's a 2016, so it's the 1000. And it's pretty bare bone stock anyway. But yeah, I could definitely see the mods that you have done to it have definitely been a huge improvement to that platform, and I'd love to do every one of them myself. So
yep, and here pretty soon, I want to get up with you about that guy we were talking about at Red River Scramble, because that is one thing. The front forks, they will always be lackluster no matter what you put in them. So I know you were talking about one of your local suspension guys.
Yeah, KDR.
Possibly doing some machining on them to maybe see if we could improve that a little bit better.
I'm sure you can. Good deal, man. All right. I think that's going to lead us into our favorite little interview segment, the 6-pack. All right, ladies and gentlemen, for those that don't know, the 6-pack is a quick little 6 answer and question segment we do just to get to know our interview guests a little bit better. And we'll start out with best trail snack, buddy. What do you like to carry with you to eat? Uncrustables.
I carry about 10, 12 Uncrustables in my little back bag I've got there. During the 24 Hour of Appalachia, anytime we took a pee break, I'd slam 1 or 2 of those, and quick carbs, a little bit of sugar. So, that always does me well.
I would agree that Uncrustable is elite when it comes to trail food.
Absolutely.
Pretty damn good. All right, Trevor.
What would be your dream bike or dream bike setup?
I'd like to say I'm already on it. We
all would.
Yeah. Yeah. I went ahead and kind of jumped on to kind of one of the premium adventure bikes. For what I do, definitely, and I already know some of my buddies listening are going to rag on me for this, but a full MX teched out T7 would probably be the dream bike. I don't know if y'all are aware, MX Tech up in Illinois, they do a 49 mil fork conversion for that, and then they've got their own specialty shock for it as well. I do one of the, basically like Andy Janik from Heavy Enduro.
Yeah,
his bike would probably be my dream bike.
I get that.
It's a good choice.
All right, up next, favorite trail tunes. You listen to any music when you're out there riding?
The demons in my head are the trail tunes that I listen to. Yeah, I don't ever. I've got big ears, so I can't fit the speakers in my helmet without extreme discomfort. So I just listen to the bike. That's pretty much all it is.
My God, I'm glad I don't have to listen to the motor on my KTM.
It's so loud, so rattling.
Yeah, that is the one thing.
It's crazy how clanky those things are.
My 700 is no slouch in the noise department either. It's kind of getting louder. So
right? Start one of the. I think the 72 Trail 90 has the original motor on it. And it's quiet, runs like a sewing machine. And then I fire my KTM up, and it sounds like a paint shaker full of like ball bearings and gravel.
That's a feature,
and that's with the aftermarket, like mechanical ratchet backed timing chain tensioner.
Yeah,
because the OEMs are oil pressure fed and like to fail.
One of my buddies, Glenn, he's got a KTM 890 that he's put 50,000 miles on, the original.
Nice.
And anytime he starts that thing up, I'm like, Glenn, are you sure that thing's all right? I think there's like.
I bought mine used, and I just thought that it's like something wrong with it.
There's a bolt bouncing around there.
Flap, or it's going to drop a valve, or there's something wrong with it. And then I drowned it while me and James were out riding, and the noise didn't get any worse, so that was good. But my buddy Arthur bought a brand new off the showroom floor KTM 350, and then started it up while I was beside it, and it sounded almost identical.
You're like, oh, okay.
They're just horribly loud running bikes.
Well,
that's one of the only things, the Africa, which of course most people only hear. I've got an Akrapovic exhaust on it. Most people only hear that. But when you're sitting on it, and I think the 1000s are the same way, it has a whine. Have you?
That my old man said that it sounds like that typical Honda big bore, like the cam bearings, like you can hear. Yeah, mine does the same thing. It's the same way.
I get so tired of hearing that all the time.
Well, when they stop making those noises, and the KTM included, that's when you know you got a problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, up next, Trevor.
What would be your favorite terrain to ride?
I'd say like OHV park type terrain. Sure. Kind of single track. Hill climbs, rocky hill climbs, roots, that kind of stuff. Mud. Kind of what I'm doing now with the Cub Mountain Race and Series. Don't get me wrong. In the moment, I probably some times where I don't like it. But overall, I like what it does for me, making me into a better rider.
Sure.
Red River Scramble, Red River Gorge, I would say, is probably, as far as dual sport riding, the closest thing to it. That's probably one of my favorite places ever to ride.
The single track out there was great. I mean, we really, the only single track we got in this state is the stuff that we've cut in on like local landowners.
Yeah, that's Sheltoe.
Yeah, to be able to go hit Sheltoe was an amazing experience.
Yeah, that stuff is mint. It's not too tight that you can't carry a good pace through it, and it's not too smooth that you get bored. I mean, there's rocks here and there, and then heck, there were a couple of sections,
big sand washes.
Yeah.
It was like a whoop section that I was coming across, and I was just like timing it right and lofting the front end of my bike over the next whoop. And I went into the last one, and then I looked down over my front fender. It's just like a big sand wash.
Out of nowhere.
I was about to lay the front end down on. It's not a good feeling.
How cool is it too to have a public single track like that? Like, it just blew our mind. And then not only that, it was like every section.
It felt illegal.
Yeah.
That's what was crazy.
The whole time we're both like, all right, where's the DNR? Because we're getting arrested right now. But then, like, not only that, but every place that it passed a county road, or you went over like a little paved section for a little split period of time, it was like the terrain completely changed too. Like each section was a different, total like ecological zone in a way. Like it just still fascinated me. So cool.
I don't think there's anywhere with such a mix of terrains as Red River Gorge area. It's phenomenal. Drew Faulkner's lucky to be riding out there almost every weekend like he does.
Yeah, I agree with that. He knows the terrain pretty well too, because I was kind of cracking up. Did the 24 hours of Appalachia haunted haulers down in the same area.
Yeah,
and he showed up that morning, was taking some pictures and hanging out and stuff. And then he kept telling me, he's like, I'll probably be here, and here to take some pictures. I'm like, all right. And then I'm out and kind of vaguely know where I'm at, but bam, there he is in the woods taking pictures here. And it was like, 30 minutes later, it felt like we went 100 miles. Bam, he's over here taking pictures. So
he's
really
a local
cool
cryptid.
Yeah, he's like a
foot in that area. Just shows up out of nowhere. You just be out there lost in the wilderness, and you turn left, and there'd be Drew Faulkner.
I'm sure he'll like that. All right, next one. What's your must-have trail tool?
Probably 10, 12, 13, and 14 like wrench set. That pretty much hits most of the important stuff on the Africa. I don't, for a while there, I would have said, spoons and like a bicycle pump. Because I did go through a little bit of a phase where I was taking out front tubes quite often. I'm bad about, I like to run super low pressure. So, like somewhere around 13 to 15 in the front and maybe like 16, 17 in the rear.
Yeah, on a big bike, that's a recipe for pinch flats.
Yeah. It gets you, which of course, every time I take all my stuff with me, it's never my bike. It's always somebody's tubeless bike, like a Pan America or a KTM 890, and I'm jamming a tube in theirs. But now that I've got that Moose up front, obviously I don't have to worry about that as much. I've never really gone through rear tubes. I do like the heavy 4 mil tubes, and so I don't pinch flat those very often.
Sure.
So I'd say a set of wrenches, and then secondary would be, spoons just in case.
And if you have to change the air filter, we're just hauling the bike out, right?
Yeah, no, we don't change the air filter on
Yeah, that's something that I just can't get down with on these big bikes is how maintenance unfriendly they are.
Yeah, it's bad.
I guess some big bikes, KTM seem to be better set up especially for like air filter maintenance and stuff.
The 10
like
rays aren't too
bad.
bad.
Even like the new Honda Transalp, I was mildly interested in one when they first announced them years ago now. And then I watched a video of like having to take the front shrouds off, the gas tank, and all this stuff just to get to the air filter. That's a no-go for me.
It's a trade-off, right? You're going from something that the service intervals are only 10, 20,000 miles, but man, when it's time to do it, it's not mechanically friendly to get in there to do it.
Yeah, I call the air filter on the Africa Schrodinger's air filter because as long as you don't look at it, it can't be that dirty. So I just assume it's clean and typically doesn't have any issues.
Yeah, I've never seen so many plastic push pins in my life.
Did the air filter stay cleaner on those things? They in a better location?
It does seem to stay pretty clean, I will say. I mean, I did the Hooligan 100, and then right after that, I did Red River Scramble, and y'all remember there was dust galore.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. As soon as we rolled back into camp Friday night, I popped the side panel off my KTM and swapped air filters.
See, so I checked it. I came back. I did, after the Red River Scramble, I did Loretta Lynn's trail ride. So I was back out there. Probably only did about 40, 50 miles worth of the trails out there as far as, banging out the main loop. And then had a Cub Mountain race. And after the Cub Mountain race, I finally decided, I was like, okay, you've done enough to this poor bike. Check the air filters. Yeah. And they weren't horrible. I mean, they had a little bit of, surface dust on them, but still passing air just fine. So
nice.
Yeah, I think the ones on mine, so my bike had 28,000 miles on it when I bought it. I put maybe another 7,000 or 8,000 on it before I pulled the air filters out. I don't think they'd ever been done. It was factory Honda part numbers, and they still look pretty pristine. The only thing that was in mine was a moth There was a moth stuck into it. So
Yeah.
that was the dirtiest part about mine.
Yeah, they're tucked up in there enough that I guess it really takes a while before you bog those up.
Yeah. All right. And last one, Trevor.
If you could only do 2 mods to a bike, what would they be?
Ooh, do tires count as a mod?
Yes,
Absolutely.
we have in the past said tires.
Yeah, so tires first before anything, and then good suspension would be my 2. You can really, outside of that, I mean, you pretty much any bike, you just do those 2 things, and they don't really need much else. So
Yep, that's good to hear, man. That's what we hear a lot on a lot of different interviews that we do. We appreciate you answering all those questions for us. You've made reference to several different events and races and different disciplines in the spectrum of things that you like to do on the Africa Twins. So let's talk about that a little bit. What's your favorite dual sport events to hit up on the bike?
So as far as dual sport events, I would say Red River Scramble is going to be my number 1 for dual sport events, true dual sport, both road and off road. The tracks that Drew Faulkner throws together for those are absolutely amazing. I hate pavement. I really, really do. But
Same.
even when you're on the pavement out there, it's still, beautiful scenery, good fun roads. And then, of course, when you get off road, he's got such a wide array for just about any kind of rider. I mean, you can have the most basic beginner rider out there and they have a great time. And then you can have, masochists like us that want to go out there and, kill ourselves in our bikes. And he's got something for us as well. So that's the pinnacle for me.
Good deal. Good to hear that. Obviously racing, that's something that you don't see a whole lot on people with big adventure bikes. But not only that, it sounds like you do have a couple race series there that kind of recognize that small market of people that want to be dumb like we are and take adventure bikes racing. So talk about some of the different race series you do.
Yeah. So I'm blessed to be in the location that I'm at because I'm surrounded by, seems like plenty of like-minded individuals in this area. I say area, but kind of, a wide envelope. The biggest one would be the Hooligan 100. That's Mark Atkins, Rusty Butcher on Instagram. He's really big in the Harley community. Mm-hmm. He threw together a race down there for all of the Harley Hooligan guys. So for anybody who doesn't know what Hooligan is, it's a Harley Sportster that's typically been front end swapped for a dirt bike fork set and then heavily modified from that point to basically be a dirt bike. So they've got a pretty big community. So they do like the built well out west. And since he moved here, he I think over the last 2 years or so, moved from California on over here and kind of brought that culture with him. And then he got up with Andy Janik of Heavy Enduro, and they brought an ADV class to that event. So basically 100 miles of Loretta Lynn's, which is, I would say it's not the toughest terrain that we've got around here, but 100 miles of it really starts to add up.
Sure. I've raced that GNCC many times in my life, and 100 miles would be plenty for me.
Yeah, it's 5 20-mile laps, which thank God they've got a pit section for you. So after every 20-mile lap, I'd come back and I'd lay out and kind of die for a couple of minutes and then crawl back to the bike and get back out there. But that one is probably my favorite event because it's kind of a mix of a dual sport event and a race. We all get there the day before. So, you get there Friday. You race on Saturday, and then you're there Sunday as well. So, there's a little bit of the kind of the Red River Scramble kind of community aspect to it where, everybody's kind of hanging around and, telling stories and bench racing and that kind of stuff. So that one, you're going to have to come out to that next year. You'd really enjoy that.
Yeah, I had plans to come down this year actually, but just had too much stuff going on.
I know. I
Definitely.
remember I was sitting out there and you posted something. You out doing home maintenance, and I was like, dude, you're supposed to be on the road. What are you doing?
Yeah, I think I was helping Dad try to get the gutters done on his house there before Mom had her surgery and stuff. So
You got all those responsibilities, man. You
oh,
got
you know,
shirk those off.
yeah, sometimes. I heard you did mention a couple of times too. You said Cub Mountain. So is that a different series or?
Yeah. So after the Hooligan this year, it seems like some of the local enduro hare scramble race series they noticed that there was obviously, a group of people that wanted to do that kind of riding or racing, and so they added an adventure bike class. I think their restrictions are 600cc and up. Now that kind of leaves a little bit of a gray area for what at the Hooligan was considered a dual sport. So, like the Gas 700s, the AJP 7s, stuff like that. Those guys can still race with us there. I've been lucky enough. I've only been out I missed the first event. So I did round 2. We've got a local guy, Jacob Sumrald. He rides an AJP 7 and he's like insanely fast on that thing. So thankfully he stayed at home the last race, and maybe he'll stay at home this next race too. I might have another chance at podium because like me and my buddy Isaac are the only ones that show up for that. Isaac's on a Tiger 900 Rally Pro.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, which Isaac's a really, really good rider on that thing. So he has no trouble out there at all. I'm typically tagging along at the back just trying to survive, but they opened up that class for us, and that's been a fun one. We've got another one of those Sunday that we're going to be out at. So
that's really cool, and it's something that I've begged and pleaded at our local series around here to add that. Please add that class. I think that it would just be not only a good time for spectators to watch, but for people like me and you, it would just be another outlet for our masochism.
Exactly. Yeah, and I know some organizations are kind of wary of letting us bring those big bikes out there, I guess, from a safety standpoint.
I get that.
Yeah, heavy enduro, Andy Janik, he's up in Illinois, and in Utica, Illinois, Fox Valley Off Road, they host the AMA District 17 hare scramble there. And somehow he talked them into putting an adventure class in, which kind of was unexpected with it being AMA.
Yeah.
So that's kind of summertime. Me and Isaac once a month haul up there and we go ride with them. So that's a good time. Now there's a little different. They put us in with the women and children in that race.
Oh man.
Yeah. So I think it's a different course, somewhat, a little bit more open and easy. Cub Mountain, there are no punches pulled. You go out with the rest of the adult MC class on the same course. It's rough on the big bike. It really is, but there's such a sense of accomplishment, even getting one lap in out there, you're like, man, I did that. So
yeah, that's one thing that I've kind of taken away from, doing some of these 24-hour Appalachia events and stuff on my AT is that sense of accomplishment of not only did you complete something that was hard to begin with, but you cranked that difficulty up another level, another notch by doing it on something that was never designed to do that from. And
exactly.
I kind of agree with you that sense of accomplishment and pride of, I've got a Gas 700 at the time. I had a KTM 500. I could have done that on anything else, but I finished it on this bike. And it's kind of like you said, like
you on that, because that 24 hours of Appalachia is no freaking joke.
Yeah, that was going to be my next little segue into that, because I know that's where me and you met for the first time in person, was at the Mothman's Revenge. So take me through your whole process leading up to getting into that and how it went for you.
Yeah, so which of course this kind of explains the outcome for me. There was no process. I just one of my buddies was like, "Hey, you want to do a 24-hour race?" And I was like, "Sure. Tell me where. Let's go." And it ended up saying, 24-hour of Appalachia, Mothman's Revenge. And I was like, okay, yeah, what's the details on it? And I think me and all my buddies grossly underestimated what that was going to take to be able to finish it. yeah, we had all the gear, had everything we needed. Just didn't have the mental fortitude or the stamina to really push it out to the end. I made it to checkpoint 4, which I think we would have done a little bit better. Our group kind of took the approach of going balls to the wall and then, stopping and kind of, resting for a second, eating, and we realized afterwards you've got to cut down on those stops as much as possible and push a very, maintainable speed. And so, yeah, we made it to checkpoint 4, and I was just absolutely waxed. I think at the time we were like 18 hours in, so that tells you kind of how that stopping really affected us as far as total time spent on course. But yeah, that was tough. And of course, leaving that, I was telling myself, I was like, no, you're not doing that again. You're not doing that again. And then, of course, then I got home and I put down on the calendar like three different events for the next year. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do 3 of these at least. So
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm thinking, but I'll definitely be back for more.
Well, shortly after checkpoint 4 was a nice little landslide that you probably would have had to do the same thing I did with my Africa twin, which was deadlifted over 2 down trees.
Yeah,
So it didn't get any better after checkpoint 4. Just letting you know.
Yeah, that's kind of. I was so glad that I stopped when I met up with you and you told me that. I was like, man, I'm glad I stopped where I did, because, of course, it started as I was leaving checkpoint 4. The monsoon came, and so it was just pouring down rain in the middle of the night, and I was like,
Yeah.
I just want to go home. I want to bed. So. Yeah,
oh, that's cool. That's good.
Next year, I'm definitely I'm planning on doing Chemical Valley.
Mm-hmm.
What's the first one that bikes are allowed at? Which one?
I think that's Ohio. It's the one in Ohio is the first one.
Yeah. So the Ohio event, Chemical Valley, and then I want to do the 1000. So
yeah, I'm signed up for that one too. The dueling banjos, yeah.
Yeah.
Taylor County, West Virginia to Owsley County, Kentucky. Here we come.
That's going to be a tough one. Do you think you'll take the whole 72 hours to do that one, or what's your goal?
I'll be completely honest with you, man. I don't think I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna try to just push through and do it all.
Nap, nothing.
I may take a slight little nap, but right now it's that mental block of, all right, you finished. I finished every 24-hour I've done except one, but they all average around 500 miles. But the thought that when you come across the finish line at one of the ones that I finished, that you're only halfway done, that's a whole nother level of holy shit.
Yeah, that's going to be rough. Which, of course, there's already a high attrition rate at most of the 24-hour of Appalachias. I think that one's going to be extremely high.
Speaking of high attrition rate, I got the guesstimate right on how many would finish total. And hey, Jed and Sean, I'm still waiting for my 6-pack of ski soda. So you can send that to me anytime now.
Yeah, I did. Whenever, of course, we got to run several of the harder sections. Running the Dirty 130 and the Humble and Hollows. I did not have high hopes for any of those full size rigs. Of course, seems like some of them that I didn't expect to make it made it, but I expected it to be a very low finish rate on that one.
Well, part of it to me too was it was nice to be able to run all that stuff 2 weeks before the event, because there was a lot of places I got into. I was like, I remember this. I know which line to pick. I followed Trevor through Ross Creek and knew where all the deep holes were, so I knew which way to zig and zag. But there was a whole nother element added to it with all the leaves that fell in those 2 weeks. It completely changed everything.
That's what I was about to say. Tell them about the nice, perfectly flat section of creek bed that was covered in leaves.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So this is kind of a funny story, but our good buddy Chad, we were on the Dirty 130, and there was a mud hole in the middle of nowhere, and it wasn't any more bigger than like a 15-inch car wheel.
We talked about this around the campfire, didn't we?
Yeah. It went to China.
Yeah, the night after it happened.
So he flips over the handlebars and breaks, or his shifter gets bent into the ignition cover and punches a hole in it, right? And in the whole talking and hanging out and whatever, I made a point on Gaia, and we called it Chad's Greasy Dirty Booty Hole. That's what we made that mud hole, right? So
the name was not determined by committee.
Yeah,
that was a James Wright project.
But so I when I navigate during the rallies, I use DMD2 on a tablet, but I record with Gaia on my phone, which is what Jed and the guys prefer to have sent to them. But I was dying laughing because I'm coming into this old dried up creek bed, and lo and behold, it's the one right below where Chad had crashed. So I look down at Gaia and I see there's a point that says Chad's Greasy Dirty Booty Hole. I'm going right by it. I know where I am now.
That's
So
kind
that
of a
was really
morale
funny.
booster in the middle of the
Yeah. But having said that, that old dried up creek bed, we're going way farther down along it than we ever did during the Red River Scramble.
Oh, okay.
So I'm flying down this creek bed, like sand, deep, nice, loamy sand, plenty of traction, just absolutely hauling the mail. But all the leaves had fell in this one particular spot in the creek bed. And I'm flying out through there. And then all of a sudden, I hit those leaves and I could see a wave forming of leaves because they're covering up about 5 or 6 feet deep of water right there.
Ooh.
So luckily I stopped just in the amount of perfect time to not sink the bike and drown it out and pull it out and not completely end my day because it was really close there.
Yeah, I saw one guy, I forget his name, but he posted in the 24-hour riders and drivers group. He was out there, basically started a fire. He drowned his bike out and started a fire and basically camped out there for 5, 6 something hours, just chilling.
Nice.
Man, the stories that come out of that event are something to behold, man.
Yeah, I feel like that was probably the most interesting one from what I saw. I mean, which hate it for these guys, but wasn't there a side by side that went up in smoke out there as well?
Yeah, I think there was one that caught on fire, man.
Yeah, there was.
That Kentucky terrain is no joke. I mean, we're all three of us know that firsthand, and that last 24-hour rally was definitely a grand finale. It had the most difficult off-road of anyone throughout the entire year. So
yeah,
I was happy to finish third. I'll take that any day of the week.
Dude, that's impressive. That freaking kudos to you. Congratulations. So that was a tough one.
Thank you, sir. Trevor, you got anything else for Aaron?
No, you guys with these big bikes are a different breed.
we're messed up in the head is all it is.
I know that. But something I did observe when we went out to Kentucky, like I'm on a KTM 350, even with the oversized tank, it's still a light bike. I start getting into like embedded rock and stuff like that. I just pinball.
Mm-hmm.
I pinball all over the place. I weigh like 175 pounds. My bike weighs probably 265 with a full oversized tank of gas. And I just pinball all over the place. But you guys on heavier bikes, that momentum and everything really helps to carry that line. And
well, one thing about those bikes, and James can kind of attest to this as well, the weight of the bike itself makes the suspension work, kind of holds the line, whereas a lighter enduro platform can kind of kick up back at you, can kind of step up out of that line or pop off of that rock or out of that rut. Those heavy bikes, they don't want to move. They've got so much moving mass and inertia that as long as you point it in the right direction, it seems like most of the time it's going to do what you expect it to do. Now, when it doesn't, it's, glorious, but it's, everything comes flying apart, but most of the time it works in your favor.
I will say that, coming off the KTM 500 and coming back onto the Africa Twin, there's places like say, oh my gosh, what's the name of the creek bed that's close here? I'm drawing a blank, Trevor.
The creek bed that's close to
outside of Fairmont there. Oil Well Hollow. Yeah. I guarantee you, if you put a stopwatch to me running up that on the Africa Twin versus the KTM 500, I bet I'd be a second faster on the AT compared to the 500 just because I wasn't bouncing all over the place. And like you said, Aaron, it just, wherever you pointed it, it was going to keep moving and keep going at that pace. But man, there's some times I've dropped that bike in some bad places, and it was just nightmare to get back up.
Well, I watched that thing about claim your tibia.
About broke my leg off.
You bought it.
Yeah.
it swept his foot off the foot peg and wedged his calf between the passenger foot peg mount and a root that was embedded in a bank. And I thought he broke his leg.
I thought I did too.
As soon as he hobbled off that thing, I thought, oh, at least we're pretty close to, a paved road,
Yeah, that is the kind of the trade-off. Having all that extra mass, it's going to go. You can sometimes put your foot down on, lighter bikes and whatnot, and it'll kind of kick you off of there. And, but on a big bike, you end up with an appendage off of it and it catches something. You might not have that appendage attached anymore. The worst I've had was at our local OHV, Turkey Bay. It's got a lot of rock, and then some of the hill climbs, which all of the hill climbs, because side by sides are so prevalent around here. All of the hill climbs have been like troughed out into these, like canoe shape the whole way up. And there's big boulders that kind of sit in the middle. And I was running up. I had to kind of take the wall to get around this boulder, and the ass end slipped, and it slammed my leg in between the frame and that boulder. And I got a slight hairline fracture in my leg off of that, which that was kind of at the beginning of my riding career on that bike. And I was wearing some shitty Fly Racing, like $150 MX boots. Real quickly, I upgraded to the SG12s, and
good choice.
The whole lot more protection. Now, even then, at the Hooligan 100, I caught a root ball sitting right in the side of the trail, and it tucked my foot up and kind of made the tip of my toe touch felt like my shin. And I thought I'd broken my foot on that one, which luckily enough I didn't. But yeah, when you start to get complacent, these big bikes will remind you real fast that there are consequences to your actions.
I couldn't have said that better myself.
Yeah.
I always say, when it's good, it's good.
Yeah.
When it's bad, it's bad.
It's real bad. It is real bad. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, I know you've touched on a little bit about doing some of the 24 Hours of Appalachias next year, but what are some other future goals you have for yourself?
Well, they're lofty, and I don't know how realistic it's going to be, but I'm just going to kind of set my mind on it and kind of push forward how I think I need to. I plan on racing the rest of this Cub Mountain Series, doing some Warn, possibly picking up another enduro series in the beginning of next year, whatever kind of pops up. Doing the Hooligan 100 again. I want a podium on that again, going for second place to first place this time, kind of seeing how it goes. I was a couple of, the stars aligned at this last Hooligan, and between a couple of people losing count of their laps, a lot of bikes going down out there, like mechanically. I was able to snag third place in ADV novice.
Nice.
Yeah, just by finishing. A lot of people didn't finish the whole 5 laps, and a lot of bikes broke down out there. So just crossing the finish line on the 5th lap got me third. So next year I'm going for second or first there. I definitely want to complete at least 3 24 Hour of Appalachia events. And I plan on, over the course of the next 3 to 5 years, using 24 Hour of Appalachia to prepare me for Baja. I want to do 5-year goal, 3-year goal, one of the Score 500 events, and 5-year goal, take a crack Ironmanning Baja 1000 on the Africa Twin.
Nice, dude.
Yeah, which everybody tells me is not possible. And so I'm just going to find that out.
If that's your 5-year goal, then your 6-year goal should be survive.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome stuff, man. Last thing, what kind of advice would you give to somebody that maybe they have a big adventure bike and they're thinking about doing what we do?
Well, first, don't. You're not going to listen to that like I wouldn't. Second would be cardio. Get you a gym membership or a treadmill, and get after it, because that's the only way to even slightly enjoy it. you got to be fit with these bikes.
Wait, we're supposed to be riding to enjoy it? You guys have been enjoying this?
Yeah. It's type 2 fun. We did a show about that.
Yeah. I
type
enjoy it
2
once
fun.
I'm laying in my bed at home after taking
Yeah.
a nice long hot shower. Yeah.
Never again. 6 hours later. And when's the next one?
Yeah,
that was fun.
That was 100% me after the 24. Me and my buddy the whole way back. We were like, that's a bad idea. We shouldn't do this again. And then I got home and I texted him. I was like, when are we going to do the next one? So
that's my experience too, dude. The whole time I'm like, no, this is stupid. I'm not doing this anymore. You know, I look down, I feel like I've been riding for 4 days and I still have 200 miles to go. Like, this is dumb. But man, crossing that finish line, like, I've said this before, dude, I've raced every type of discipline you can think of, but just finishing these things, man, is just a rush. It is such a rush. I love it.
Oh yeah. Well, and that's the thing, like, before the Hooligan 100, only thing I'd done competitive was a couple of the heavy enduro hair scrambles up in Illinois, and I wasn't even able to finish them. Like, I was, not in the shape I needed to be in. So I kind of committed myself to, getting in the physical shape that I needed to be in for that Hooligan. So I basically rode twice a week, every week, all the way up until it. And I was in the gym 2 to 3 times a week minimum, and then running and, doing stuff like that. And dude, when I hit the scoring tent and they said, you just finished 3rd place. Oh, dude, I'm not even gonna lie. I shed a couple tears there. Like, the euphoria off of that, first ever time, finishing, and then not only that, but to be podium. Oh God, I'll be chasing that high for a good long time. So that's what's going to end up driving me, all the way to Baja.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome to hear. And hey, dude, you need to start, if you want to start a Africa Twin race team for Baja, let me know. I'll sign up.
100%. Yeah. The only thing better than one idiot is 2 idiots trying to take on something.
Yeah,
so,
that's right. And we can get Trevor out there too. We'll get him an adventure bike.
There we go.
Dude, I don't know about me getting an adventure bike, but like I'd pit crew or something for you guys.
Chicken truck.
Oh yeah, Trevor get the old Tacoma out there on the sand dunes.
I would love an excuse to put like Camberg long travel system.
Dude, I'm telling you.
Deaver leaves on the bike.
Hell yeah.
That'd be awesome. All right. We want to remind everybody that's new here, give us a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out, and we appreciate you. Let's go through the comments we got tonight. We appreciate everybody tuning in and interacting with us. Got a lot of them here this evening. You're a popular guy, Aaron. First up, Seth Haley TV says, yo.
My boy.
Second up, Kentucky Rally Rider. Aaron is a madman on 2 wheels.
That's my boy, Matt.
Michael Barkas says, ATs are such a blast off-road, just a handful to pick back up. Yes, they are.
True statement.
He also says Kieran Marabet, too. I think that was one of the other guys we were talking about.
Yeah, he's insane on that thing.
And we got Mr. Jim Montaigne. Hey, Jim. He says, he's talking about Tom Asher. Tom is a monster. Cannot wait to get with him and ride. I think I'm going to go get a good set of tires, but would like to stick with the tubeless setup. Definitely looking into it.
Yeah, Tom Asher is a phenom as far as riders in general, but then riders in his age group. There's nobody doing it like him. I don't know if you've seen the videos. He's launching that F950 off of big jumps, and then there's one. It looked like he was hitting a redwood tree down sideways. That thing was like 5 foot tall, and he cleared that thing on the back tire.
Nice. Larry Orloff says, awesome.
Thank you.
Michael Barkas also says the alt-rider high fender kit is a must.
Yes, I have.
I need that for mine. What do you drink when you're racing? Go ahead.
Yeah, I do. I put like base chain amino acids in my water pack. So I've got a little bit of BCAAs in there, just to add a little bit of kind of flavor, and then of course a little bit of energy that it gives me.
Good deal. I've been a huge fan recently of the Gatorade brand. It's almost like their Pedialyte.
Yeah.
Like the orange ones. I don't know what they quench my thirst better than anything I've ever had. So I down those the entire time I'm out there on the 24s. Seth Haley says, nah, Aaron, go 890.
Well, Seth's 890 has not been a great representation, at least from we want to go over on. But Seth on the 890 is a great reputation of why somebody should get an 890. But
Yeah. He also says he agrees about the noise on the 890. I did find one little thing to fix it. MCMX, which is our good buddy Mr. Tom McConnell, says, "What moose are you running?"
yeah, so I'm running a Michelin M16. It's like one of their desert mooses. I think it's like 13 psi is what it represents, or something like that. Fits in perfectly with my 9100 Shinko MX216 gummy. It really creates a perfect little combo there.
Good deal. I had a nitro moose on the front of my KTM 500. No issues with it on the road as well.
Yeah, my buddy Mike Castellucci, he's a big fan of those nitro mooses on his T7.
Yeah. He also says, how long do they typically last?
So I've had that thing on. I did the Hooligan 100, then went out and did the Red River Scramble, and then did Loretta Lynn's again, and then Cub Mountain. And I pulled it off to do a little bit of dual sporting just over this past weekend. When I pulled it off, it's still in really good shape. So I'm probably going to run another 2 races on that. So I'd say every bit of 500 to 600 miles for sure, if not more.
That's typically what I was getting out of mine too on the front.
Yeah.
And same type of hard riding, it wasn't just on the street. So
yeah.
Jim says that class might be coming, buddy. I still got to talk to Ronnie. He's referring to Ronnie Paul from New East Coast. Please make it happen. I'll be there. General Lee 300. That's why you come at the gym at 5 a.m.
Yeah. Hey, that's the same time I hit the gym in the mornings, 5 a.m. Yep.
I've tried it. I just
4:30 when it's time to get up and get ready for the gym. I hate it, but if I can get some energy drink in me and get there, it typically works out pretty well.
Our good buddy, Mr. Greg Blicky, says, you guys see any Touaregs out in the bush? Dude, I'll be completely honest with you, no.
No.
And
I don't think because it's not a good bike to have out there. I mean, just as much as the Tenere, I think it would slay out there, but most of those guys that are buying them just aren't wanting to do it.
After Chad got rid of his and Tyler Vincent got rid of his, I don't personally know of anybody that rides a Touareg.
Greg's probably the last guy. And I've ridden pretty much all of the middleweight adventure bikes, the new Suzuki V-Strom 800, the T7, and the Touareg was my favorite out of all of them. And I totally could see how you could be out there and do what we do on one of those.
Mm-hmm.
I love them. But man, you don't see a whole lot of them off-road.
Now my buddy Giuseppe did just get the Touareg Rally, and he's planning to set it up to go out with me and do this type of stuff. So there will be one out there, but up until now, no, I have not seen any.
Gotcha. Spencer Fromm says he's in.
That's my buddy. He also rides an Africa Twin. He rides it out there on the sand dunes out on the West Coast. He's pretty wild on that thing too.
Let's go Baja. I'm in, dude. Let's set this up.
We're going to put a whole Africa Twin team together.
I'm down. Fromm says, I think Aaron needs to run Baja on a Himalayan.
You'll never see me on one of those. I'm sorry, Drew Faulkner. I know it's a great bike. It's just not for me.
Paul Gillette says, will you run rain gear? Would you add the next 24-hour rain gear? Dude, if we're going to the Ohio round, it's going to pour it down. Yeah, I'm going to have a poncho and all of the rain gear I could possibly get because I dumped 4 gallons of water out of my boots at the end of it. So yeah,
that's my best friend. He actually lives here in Clarksville with me, and I've been meaning to mention this to you. We need to talk to Jed. He's wanting to run his Trail 125 in a 24-hour of Appalachia.
I don't think that would be a problem at all.
Heck yeah!
There you go, Trevor. You got a trail class now. Get the 90 out there.
He's built.
Yeah, I'll run the first one halfway, and then I'll have the second one sitting at the halfway point, run it the remainder.
All right, it's officially a step through class. That's what we're doing.
Yeah. So I'll have to be researching if anybody makes a set of mooses for thing's got like 17s front and rear, maybe.
So
I would
that's
just
what
put some-
he's doing. He just sent off his wheels to be relaced onto a bigger rim set at Woody's Wheel Works, and fitted a high fender kit. He's going to be doing full suspension mod, adding a reservoir rear tank with a fuel transfer switch. So yeah, he's going to have that thing set up. It'll actually probably be pretty competitive out there.
I would
really
say it would be too.
excited for that.
Yeah.
Greg says he loves his Touareg, especially with the high fender kit and the Tusk 2 tracks. And Spencer says his dad got an easy cub we could run a 24-hour race on.
Hey, that would be some shit to see out there.
All right, that's going to lead us into a little bit of industry news. Well, the biggest motorcycle show in the world, the EICMA show, excited a lot of people out there. But really on the dual sport and adventure side of things, it was kind of quiet. Really, the only thing that was typically released there was the KLE 500, which we covered in our last show. The new BMW 450 GS was finally revealed. I know we've talked about it at length, Trevor, in previous shows, but really that was about it for the dual sport and adventure side of things. When it
How
comes
y'all
to
feel
EICMA.
about those two?
The KLE, I think it doesn't take away sales from what Kawasaki already has with the 300 Versus and the new gen KLR 650, but that ground clearance is
That was
going to
going
be
to be
the
my
biggest hamper
point.
of it.
Is
Yeah.
the ground clearance is pretty lacking, but for a gravel bike, which is probably like the target market for that thing, makes sense.
Yeah. The only people that I've talked to about it are one of my buddies, Brandon Shaw. He's more of like a forest road kind of adventure rider, but he's on a KLX 300, and he sees that being kind of a good middle ground for him. He doesn't like the heavy weight of a lot of these adventure bikes, so
Sure.
I think for the market they're targeting, I think it could do well.
Yeah, and that price point's very, very appealing too. I think that's right at the CF Moto 450, the Himalayan. It's right in that same ballpark there. So,
and then the 450, I think, even with the smaller front, it's targeting the GS guys who know how to handle a smaller front. It's just for those guys that want basically the same bike, just a little bit lighter, a GS, but smaller. So I think it'll do well too.
yep, same here, man. Trevor, keyboard dirt bike. Yamaha has revealed an electric 55 horsepower motocross model dubbed the YE01. It's based on a 2026 chassis YZ450. It features several rider modes, KYB 48 millimeter suspension, and most impressive of all, a hydraulic clutch. That's something new. Expect to see it competing in MXGP's newest e-bike class coming here soon in the next few years. And I do have a picture of it here. Pull that up here. There she be.
It's good looking.
Yeah. It's very interesting. And, Yamaha has a long history of making everything. We've kind of made that joke before.
I mean, it really came out of left field. I wasn't even aware they were working on anything along those lines.
I didn't even know it was there. But, yeah, I mean, with the popularity that the Stark has, I definitely think there's a market for it.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd be really interested to try one out with a hydraulic clutch on an electric bike.
Same here. I think that's a game changer whenever it comes to these e-bikes. If you can add features like that give us normal motorcycle guys a chance to slowly integrate ourselves to the e-bike situation, I think that's a huge selling point.
That's what was frustrating to me with the electric motocross and enduro bike thing. It was the same life cycle that like the Tesla Cybertruck took. It was a bunch of people that didn't know what truck owners actually wanted, telling truck owners like, no, you don't actually need that towing capacity or range. You're wrong, right? It was similar to mountain bike guys and e-bike guys telling enduro motocross guys like, no, you don't need a clutch. Just get used to it. Like,
right.
I don't know. I'm curious to try one. That's actually probably the electric bike I'm most excited for out of anything out there right now.
Yep, same here. Last and certainly not least, this was an absolutely crazy situation and story that was circulating social media like wildfire. But Caleb Russell, multi-time GNCC champion, had his entire bike shed inventory raided over the past weekend. 17 bikes were stolen. So this includes multiple championship bikes throughout his years at KTM from 2016 on. His kids, a couple of his kids' YZ85s were stolen, YZ65s. Some of his recent Yamaha 450 enduro models that he's been competing with the GNCC have been stolen. And yeah, dude, this is just absolutely crazy. Here's some pictures of the bikes in question. So that's his entire collection of championship KTMs. There's two of the recent Yamaha models that got stolen, and even a couple of his kids' bikes there.
Gosh,
lots of crazy things, floating around about this. But I mean, it's unfortunate. You can't really trust anybody in this world in this day and age. And unfortunately, I know we were kind of talking about it a little bit off camera. 90% of the time, whenever I've dealt with this situation, it's somebody you know, or it's somebody you know's friend that's involved with this.
Yeah.
Had to have been somebody that knew what those bikes were, knew where he was, how to get in, how to get out. I mean, that's a hell of an operation. You're talking about like Ocean's 11 style heist. Yeah. That many bikes.
Those things are sitting in somebody's basement or garage. Every single one of them spray painted flat black.
Yeah.
With the serial number, though, however they could get the plate or stamping, I'm not sure what is on those frames. However they could remove the serial number,
Yeah, that's kind of what my thought was. I was like, those are all some pretty, well-known bikes, or people are going to recognize those. You can't do much with them, Yeah. But yeah, like we were talking about off camera, it's kind of, you hate to see it in this industry, in this kind of stuff, because as far as like the dual sport and adventure community, that's not ever anything we ever have to really worry about. I mean, you go to these events and leave your stuff all strewn out on the picnic tables outside.
There ain't nobody that wants my POS.
But typically nobody ever walks away with anything. You can leave your camper unlocked, your vehicle's unlocked. And so I hate to see it.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. But that is one positive that we do have going for this segment that we like to participate in, is that community. Yeah. That trust, that camaraderie. We've talked about it millions of times off camera and on camera. Like, some of my best times at going to these events are just hanging out and riding. There's just the campfire and the beers. Heck, you coming down and having some beers with us down at the end. I mean, that's what it's all about, man.
Dude, that was probably the highlight for me. My side was hurting after we got done there. Y'all are a hoot.
Anytime you get around Chad, it's going to be a good time.
Oh, God, dude. He's hilarious. He makes a mean burger, too, man.
Just don't turn your back to him.
All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for us here this evening. Aaron, you got anybody you want to thank?
Yeah. Of course, the boys over at Heavy Enduro, Seth, Andy, Jeremy. They're always, they're kind of the ones that got me into this whole thing, kind of letting me kind of come up there and run with them in the heavy enduro events, and Mark Atkins for doing the Hooligan 100, and of course my mom and dad, they're always supporting me on this stuff. They actually came out and they were my pit crew at the Hooligan 100, and so that was kind of a morale boost every time I'd come around, and I'm like, I want to be done, and my dad's like, get back on the bike, kiddo, you got this. And so yeah, no, the friends and family, that's kind of what makes this community great. So love them all, appreciate them all.
Good deal, buddy. Well, I think that's going to do it for us here tonight on episode 94 of Tallboys
and Trackmasters.
Thanks, guys.
And Aaron.
And Aaron.
Thanks, everyone.
We'll see you guys next time.
Yep. Bye.